Hello everyone. So in last time we learned about the life cycle of a star and especially low mass star. Okay. So what happens when the low mass star is has used all its hydrogen? It will contract, and while contracting, it becomes heated and heated. So what happens then that the core area which was initially that much heated up that it was doing the nuclear fusion from hydrogen to helium is now already changing to helium. So the nearby area which is earlier pure hydrogen is because of this contraction becomes so heated that this area will also start nuclear fusion, and with this nuclear fusion the star will again produce more energy, and with more energy it will push the outer envelope of the star, outer surface of the star farther and farther apart. So as the star becomes farther and farther, the energy is spread around the more surface area, right? And that's why the temperature of the surface is very less, not very less but comparatively less as compared to for a given star. So temperature is less, that means wavelength of the light it produces will be more, because we know lambda max into t is constant. Okay, so we discussed all those things in previous lecture. I highly recommend you to watch that again. Okay, so with that thing, we know that central core is now already helium, and the ring around it or shell around it is now forming hydrogen to helium, right? Shell around it is now forming hydrogen to helium, and with that the star enter into a red giant phase. It will become bigger. So this stage of our sun has not reached till now. It will reach in next 5 billion years. Okay, so given that thing, what happens when this all hydrogen around it is again changed into helium? So imagine all the hydrogen surrounding a star in its envelope has now changed into helium. So all we have left in our core is, say, helium. So I'm drawing this in this color, and suppose everything has changed into helium now in the core. Now again star will not be able to produce energy, and it will contract. It will contract. It will become smaller and smaller. But when it becomes smaller, the temperature of helium temperature at the core will rise, because when you are compressing something, the atoms or the elements of that thing will be closer to each other, and they will collide, and this collision temperature rises. So when this happens, when star again start to contract, the helium temperature will be very high, such that it can start nuclear fusion, and 3 helium nuclei, okay, can attach to each other and form a carbon atom. So when temperature is too high, at the core, a new kind of nuclear reaction occur, which is 3 helium nuclei getting nuclearly fused to form a carbon atom, and this process is called triple alpha process. This process here, 3 nuclei of helium adding up to becoming a carbon atom, is called triple alpha process, and this happens in stars of low mass, also in the high mass, but I'll let you know the difference there. So, and also with this reaction also there could be one more reaction, which is, I'll tell you, this carbon which has formed can again capture one more helium nuclei and change into oxygen. So oxygen is 8, 16. Okay. So these two kind of reaction can happen in the core of the star when it is fusing helium. Okay. Pardon me. So this is called triple alpha process, and this is doesn't have a name, but we know that this is the main source of carbon and oxygen in the universe. All the stars form this thing at some stage of their life, at the end almost, and in this way these elements come up in our universe. Otherwise there is no other way it could be formed. Okay, so carbon and oxygen are produced in the core of star in this way. Okay, now we know a very deep understanding of how they are formed. Okay, so now what? Now because of this energy production, and all this process will produce a huge amount of energy. Okay, in nuclear fusion, right? So that being said, the star again become bigger because of this, all the energy going outward towards the surface. Okay, from the core where this triple alpha thing is happening, and because this energy is spread around very bigger star, so energy reaching per unit area is very less. That's why temperature is less, and temperature is less means wavelength is higher, because we know lambda max into T is constant K something. Okay, so again wavelength higher means if you go from VIGVOR from left to right on this acronym from violet to red, wavelength increases. So higher wavelength means reddish color. So star will again become more reddish. It was reddish when in the giant phase. In this phase, when helium is forming carbon and oxygen, it has become more reddish and more bigger. Okay, so this phase is called asymptotic giant branch. Asymptotic giant and branch. It's called AGB phase of a star. So I'll draw you this thing on the HR diagram. So in HR diagram, we know the horizontal axis is your temperature, right? And this vertical axis is your luminosity. So we discussed earlier that a star spent most of the time on its main sequence. When it was protostar, it fell down in luminosity because size contraction. Okay, and this track was called Hayashi track. So this reduce in luminosity of a star, a protostar to main sequence is characterized by the dip in luminosity suddenly to become a main sequence star, and this is called Hayashi track. We discussed all those things before. Hayashi track. Okay. Now a star will spend most of the time in main sequence, going somewhere around in this line. Okay. Sometime increasing or decreasing luminosity, little bit, not much more. Okay. Now when it becomes red giant, what will happen? It will climb towards right, but becoming more luminous. Okay, and becoming a red giant. So this is a track a star will take after its becoming more like when it hydrogen to hydrogen fusing phase is over, and a shell around the hydrogen is around the core is forming, right? Then for some time it will be constant. Sometime it will be constant, go towards right. Temperature will increase, but nothing will happen. Okay, so let me draw it properly now, sorry. So this is your red giant. Okay, for some time its temperature will remain constant because hydrogen to helium is being formed. Okay, and then what I told you is this asymptotic giant branch. Okay, so it will again increase in luminosity because it become more bigger. Okay, become more bigger, and it will reach into asymptotic giant branch. So this branch is called AGB branch. This branch is called red giant branch. So in nutshell, a, a star like the low mass star will follow this three step, going from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. Okay, so this thing happen when cell around the hydrogen is forming, the core is fusing the hydrogen to helium. This will occur for some little time when this hydrogen is again fusing, so luminosity will be remain same but temperature will increase. And this will happen when your star has fused all the helium or all the hydrogen, and now helium is fusing, and that is leading to triple alpha process and star being more bigger and more luminous. Okay, this 1 to 2, 2 to 3 and 3 to 4, these steps are being followed in a life of a small mass star. Okay, but this is not the end. Next stage is, suppose this is the core of star. Okay, and this is the envelope around the star. So when this process of triple alpha is being done, it will produce so much energy that outer layers will go farther and farther apart. Okay, it will go farther and farther apart, and in the center your helium is constantly changing into carbon and oxygen, and also some trace amount of nitrogen. Okay, so this process is again named CNO cycle because it is forming hydrogen to carbon and oxygen and nitrogen, some trace amount. Okay, so first thing will be this, your surface of star going farther and farther apart. Okay, so farther apart that they are very loosely attached to the central core, and density is almost like vacuum density for the outer layers. So like one atom in per meter cube or something, or all more or less than that. So they are roughly very, very fuzzy when this stage is occurring. Our temperature is also low, but their size, if you consider this fuzzy layer as their part of the star, their size is enormous. What happens in some time, because of this process producing more energy, and this is distributed over a very large area, this outer layer will be completely diffused and will become independent of the star, and this thing is called planetary nebula. This is essentially death of a star, planetary nebula. Okay, this means now star is only left in this center part. All this thing will be gone away. So give me a second, I'll show you the planetary nebula's pictures. Okay, so bear with me for 1 minute. Okay, planetary nebula's picture you can see, and they are beautiful actually, I'll tell you. See, these are the planetary nebulas, or like this one. This is where stars have formed, they have died out, and they are throwing out their outer layer. Okay, so this is a planetary nebula, so only what remains is core of the star. Okay, now this core of the star is only carbon, nitrogen and oxygen. There's nothing else there, and mostly carbon. Now this cannot fuse further. This part of the this core of the star cannot fuse further, and that's why this remain in a this way for a long period of time. It will remain stable because electrons present in carbon, and this is very dense, I tell you. This will be very dense. A carbon atom, nitrogen atom or oxygen atom are there, but they are very dense, so it will thing like that will be remaining in the area of say 10 kilometer radius. This central area core will be maximum 10 kilometers. So when our sun will go into this red giant asymptotic giant branch and then form this central area and a planetary nebula it will form, its core will be only 10 kilometers and it will having carbon, nitrogen and oxygen in the center. And this is so dense, this and the mass of this will be like 0.5 solar mass. So half of the mass of sun will be lost in the planetary nebula, half mass will be it is roughly figure 0.5 mass or something like that. Okay, could be in the this thing central core, which is now not fusing hydrogen to helium and only having carbon, nitrogen and oxygen. So this is so dense, you can imagine now that 0.5 solar mass is in the 10 kilometer radius of this sphere, and right now one solar mass is in the size of some crores of kilometers radius of sun. It will be so dense, but this density is so high that even here temperature is not so high. Density is so high, but the temperature is not so high that carbon can fuse further more into other elements, higher elements. But it is collapsing because of its density. That collapse is not enough to form nuclear reaction, but this is overcome by electron degeneracy pressure. So the electrons present in this carbon and all those things, nitrogen, oxygen, will repel each other and will not let this star collapse more than one particular size, right? And that collapse could not produce that much of heat. That carbon will form the higher atoms through nuclear fusion. So this will remain in the same way for forever, technically forever, and this is called white dwarf star. Okay, and a white dwarf star is gravitationally stable due to electron degeneracy pressure. Okay, that means in this white dwarf of high density where only carbon, nitrogen and oxygen is there, this electrons of carbon and nitrogen will repel each other so that it doesn't collapse further and further down to a smaller size. And because it's not collapsing that much, the temperature of this thing in the center is not enough to form to do more nuclear reaction to form the bigger atoms through nuclear fusion. But in that way, this is the end product of a star like our sun. They will simply remain white dwarf for their lifetime. No explosion, no supernova which you have heard. Okay, so they go on in a very quiet way, becoming a red giant, asymptotic red giant branch, and then giving up their planetary nebula, the diffuse planetary nebula which I showed, and then a small blob of 10 kilometers, a white dwarf. That's all our sun will become after 10 billion years. Okay, so that's all about the low mass stars. There is one more phase to this, but I'll tell you that later. We'll move to high mass stars life cycle further. So thank you for watching. Good day. Have a nice day ahead.